We're in Parashat Emor. The Parashat talks about a few things, many things. The focal point is the duty of the Kohen. So let's talk about it a little today. Actually, not a little bit. It's kind of long, but regardless of that, what does the Kohen have to do with us? What do we have to do with the Kohen? Look, I'm not a Kohen. Anybody here a Kohen? You're a Kohen? No? Okay, so what do we need to learn about it? Apparently there is an inyan, there is an issue with us learning what the Kohanim learn. There's stuff that if you want to eat, you can eat. There's pizza, there's stuff there. And this parasha brings to light the duty of the Kohen and what he should be focusing on. And the Kohen should focus really mainly on life, not death. Now, you know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to us that you should be to me, right? Mamlechet Kohanim vegoy kadosh. You are, to me, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. So in a way, maybe if we would learn what is the duty of the Kohen, we can understand maybe better what do we or how should we act in this world. That's the focal point of what we want to talk today. Okay? So why is this issue that a Kohen, a priest, a Jewish priest, needs to be so careful from anything that has to be with the impurity or anything that is impure, and especially what we call tum'at met, the impurity of a dead person. And not only that, the Torah comes in what we call midat harachamim, in kind of a merciful approach to that. I mean, it should really be that the issue is very chamor, very severe, and we would expect of something so severe, with something so severe, we should use a very hard language, like, for example, and you should say to Bnei Israel, and so on and so forth, or daber el Bnei Israel, and, speak, daber, hard. And here it says, Vayomer Hashem el Moshe Emor, say it to them, tell them. Vayomer Hashem, he's kind of very soft-spoken. ואמרת אליהם לנפש לא יטמא בעמיו, a Kohen should not impure himself, כי אם לשארו הקרוב אליו, only to his relatives, of 7 relatives, אביו, אמו, his father, his mother, his brother, his sister, his child, a son, a daughter, and a wife. That's it. That's the only time that a Kohen can go to a cemetery, because otherwise he's a Kohen, And it says, lo yikrochu korcha berosham. They should not make a korcha berosham. They should not cut the hair or shave the hair or pull the hair in a certain way. We'll see what it is. Velo yisretu lo yigalchu befsaram. They should not shave, and they should not make a saretet or any kind of a scratch or any kind of a tattoo in their body. You know that the idol, the pagans, used to pull their hair, and they rip their bodies, and the blood is going so big, very impressive, But we are not allowed to do so, and that's a part of that. More than that, he says, Isha zona v'chala lo yikachu, v'isha grusha mi-isha lo yikachu, and who they could and they cannot marry. Ki kodesh hu le'elokav. Why? Because he is kodesh, he is sanctified, he is dedicated. These are all terms to his God. The Kohen is dedicated. Well, hold on one second. So if it's so, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu had told us that we are Goy Kadosh Mamlechet Kohanim, we are a holy nation and a nation of priests, well, it has to do also to us, even though the halachot themselves are not equal. For example, a regular Jew can marry a divorced woman and so on and so forth, and he can go to the cemetery for other people. However, we need to learn something. The idea is there for us to learn something from it, which is very, very important. And we know that there is a rule that every time Chazal used the word, that Chazal told us that every Lashon Dibur, Lashon Kashe, every time it says Vaidaber is Kashe, Lashon Amira, Amar is Lashon Raka, is a soft way of saying, please, can you please talk to them, right? And therefore it says, and we know that this is how not only Hashem speaks to Moshe, but also the way Moshe should speak to whoever this message is referring to. In this case, Aharon and its sons. And there is a triple emphasis on that. It says Vayomer Hashem, right? And then we have Emor el Kohanim, and you should say, and then it says Ve'amarta alehem, and then you should say to them. So why is that the Kohanim have to be guarded from anything that is tameh, that is impure, and they have to guard themselves like that? The reason is that we require the Kohanim to do so. It has to do, of course, with their kedusha, with their holiness, or quote unquote kedusha, kadosh, also dedicated. Okay, so they go hand in hand. Every time I say kadosh, it means holy / dedicated. Okay, that's why we say kiddushin for husband and wife. Why? Because they should be. She's dedicated to him, that dedicated, and that relationship should be holy. That's why same-sex marriage could never be kiddushin. I'm sorry. No cigar. Actually, well, never mind. Anyway, so it says, and even the way they eat. So therefore, and because they do what the Kohanim do, which is mainly the avodat korbanot, bringing the sacrifice in Beit HaMikdash, it has to do with eating, and it's not just eating, but it is, and it's not just making food in front of the gods. Pagans, idol worshippers, they bring food to the gods. The gods are hungry, so they need to eat. And this is, our case is completely different. It's completely different altogether. The Egyptians, ancient nations used to do so. They used to bury the dead with food, so they have something to eat. Chinese people give the dead people, or Buddhists give the dead people fake money, and they spread the money and they burn it, so he has money for his journey, right? We don't need money. We have already a bank account in Shamayim. We don't need that. Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to pay us. Don't worry about it. You don't need to take credit cards. You don't need to take checks. Everything is good. And also, so the achila, how do the Kohanim eat? They eat like regular people. Put the food in the mouth, make a bracha, and they eat. And we already spoke many times, we spoke about the importance of not only what we eat, but also how we eat. Okay? Not to eat like a behemah, food, shove the food, eat in a certain way. Not because of manners, in terms of, because it's the right thing to do. We're not like Ari. Pizza, falafel, vodka in the other room. So it's not just like, in terms of manners, like to be proper and so on and so forth. More so because of how you, come here. Of how do you interact, who you are, what you represent, and so on and so forth. And therefore, is eating symbolizes life, because only living people eat. Dead people don't eat. They're on a diet. They don't need to eat. Only living people eat. Now pay attention. Regarding our death, this is something, by the way, that many people feel very, very uncomfortable dealing with. They feel very uncomfortable learning the death rituals. Avlut. I don't want to learn this. On the contrary, let's look today how we can learn a lot about life from our death rituals. We all need to know, unfortunately. Okay? So, that's why the first thing that you do immediately after you bury the person is starting the Shiva. We call it Seudat Havra'ah, the meal immediately after the burial, right? When they take the bread and they take the egg and they place it in his hand, and he has to sit down, and then he needs to eat. That we right away. Wait, this guy just buried a person. He's gonna eat now? Yep, he's gonna eat now. What are you guys, Irish or something, drinking? What is this thing? That's what we do. There's a reason for that. Because by eating, we are reviving our soul, right? We know that when there is nefesh yetera, the extra soul that we get on Shabbat, the extra soul that we get on Yom Tov, that falls immediately after, right? We don't do besamim. Why? Because through the food that we eat on Yom Tov, we don't need the besamim. The soul revives itself from the besamim. So when there is a spiritual agony, a spiritual pain, the soul is very, as they say in Yiddish, schwache Meise, it's very weak. So we're reviving the soul by eating something. And that was the difference, by the way, of always. It was the Purushim. We were all descendants of the Purushim versus the Tzdukim. The Purushim used to eat chulin betahara. They used to eat their regular food, the regular everyday food, doing the same rituals with the same severity as eating kodashim, eating taharot. In other words, going to the mikvah and so on and so forth. And if the wife goes to it and the husband goes to the mikvah, it's a whole different thing. To pay attention to the eating. Why is that? Because the Purushim would simulate themselves in this world, doing the mundane things of eating, as the Kohanim would in their holy world. In other words, they didn't do so to show people, I'm better than you. I eat chulin betahara, I go to the mikveh before I eat. They didn't do this for that. It wasn't a reward. Let me take my jacket off. It wasn't a reward about who is more machmir, a style. Who is going to be more machmir? Oh, ani machmir. Okay, all right, get a badge, a Gorbachev badge for machmirut. We're not talking about this. They did so because they wanted to live their life. They wanted to experience their life. And this is a very important point. Experiencing your life on a holy level. Do we experience our life on a holy level? What miserable people we are. How much are we shortchanging ourselves, our lives, our children, our wives, our kids, that we don't elevate our lives to a level of holiness, experiencing holiness? Then you wonder, you don't feel like Kadosh Baruch Hu in this world. And it starts with little things, Rabbatai. It starts with little things as the way you eat. It starts with the way you talk. Are you a liar? If you're a liar, you're not going to be able to feel Kedusha in your life. Rabbatai, do not lie. Do not lie. I'll tell you a story. There's this lady, she sends me an email. I'm reading the email. I said, this woman is out of her mind. Tell me, what would you do? A policeman pulls her over. She drives a truck, a pickup truck. So she has, some kind of an air freshener in the back of her car. The cop pulls her over, that it disturbs the rear view, gives her a ticket. On that ticket, she needs to pay $200. She needs to go to court, of course, $200, points, and some other ordeals. So she goes to the DA, and he offers her a plea bargain. You say you parked in the wrong place, we'll give you $50 and goodbye, good luck, go home. She says, I can't lie. And she says, I'm willing to pay the $200 and not to lie. Huh? Who of us would do that? Plea bargain. Tell me. So I said to her, listen, she doesn't have money. I said, okay, maybe you could. So she said, maybe I'll park my car somewhere else and get a ticket. Then I can say to the because otherwise I'll be lying. Yes, I parked my car in the wrong place. But look at the level of a desire of holiness of a person to live. This is ridiculous. It's unbelievable. We have done it. $50, $200, no points. Okay, yalla, let's go. The Purushim did the same thing. They wanted to experience life in holiness. Therefore, they elevated their experience of eating to that level. When you're eating davar asur, So davar isur, something that is not kosher. Okay, so what? You got an aver. Okay, I get an aver. Okay, come. Okay, fine. Hit me. Okay, I get the. Oh, look at the damage you're doing to yourself. You're bringing yourself down in a level. Look at the ma'ala of us when we eat Pesach, when we eat matzot on Pesach. We take our food, the regular food, and now we elevate it to super kosher. We check everything. If we have chametz shavar alav Pesach, chametz that we didn't sell in Pesach, we can't eat it. Now it's not kosher anymore. I can't eat it. Well, you can eat it. What will happen? A lightning bolt will come to Shammai and strike you? Absolutely not. But what will happen in return? My neshama will feel it. I'm living my life on a lower spiritual level. And it starts with eating. It starts with little things, experiencing holiness. And therefore, limiting by giving the Avel food. By the way, we tell the Avel, even crying is a limit. You know, you're supposed to cry for 7 days. You can't cry for a month. You can't cry for a year. There's a limit to how much you cry. So by giving the Tameh, the Avel, the food to eat, we are limiting his mourning experience. You know, so which comes here in our parasha even to a further awareness. How? When you are mourning, you're not allowed to pull your hair, you're not allowed to scratch your body, you're not allowed to do all these things. There are other explanations for that, but we're limiting them. Even mourning, there's going to be a limit. Why? Okay, we'll see why in a little while. Be'ezrat Hashem. Should I say B'li neder? So they says, Korcha lo ikrochu, pe'atz kanam lo yigalechu, they're not going to shave, they're going to make saretet. Which this is, by the way, if you're going to go watch, it's good to know a lot of things in the world. It's good to know a lot, period. Your hobby should be not playing basketball, not playing PlayStation, not playing all those things. Your hobby should be, besides learning Torah, your hobby should be learning. The more you learn, the more you know, the better you'll be. Don't be a buffoon. Don't be a knucklehead that doesn't know anything. So if you look in the nations of the world outside, those habits, those practices are still practicing today about scratching their bodies and hitting the body until they bleed and doing all kind of crazy things. I've seen it. I've seen those things. It's crazy. So you can still find it. You can still find it today. And hurting one body, the person who mourns, as a sign of respect to the dead person. For example, I'm going to punch myself and cut myself so much to show the dead person how much I love them. This is not how you do it, by the way, right? This is almost almost on the same spectrum as a suicidal behavior. I mean, who would like to kill himself? Who would like to hurt himself? A person who likes to inflict self-injury, go to the DSM-5. There is a category there, for a person who inflicts whatever it is, pinching himself, scratching himself, punching himself. I mean, there are all kind of different things. That is it's a not normal behavior. Well, I don't know today. Today they're going to probably make everything normal, but probably being normal will be not normal, But you know what I'm saying. Inflicting one pain on himself or scratching himself or harming himself is a mental disorder, right? And it's on the same spectrum of suicidal. This is maybe on the shorter scale. The end of the spectrum will be suicidal. And why is that? To show you that after the person died, there's no reason to live anymore. Judaism is the religion of life, Rabotai. It doesn't make a difference who dies. You have to continue in pursuit of life. When you don't do that, you're not understanding the true spirit of Judaism. However, when you do something like this, when this kind of behavior, you're also testifying that the person who died is not really dead. So in other words, you can't really claim that you have emunah, that you have belief in eternal life and not in tchiyat hametim. Because tchiyat hametim, resurrection of the dead, Well, you can resurrect, and that's just, by the way, for all the Lubavitchers. How could you have Tchiyat HaMetim if you never die? You have to die to do resurrection of the dead. It's not resurrection of the half dead. What kind of a thing is that? You have to die. And then if you're worthy, you'll get up, right? So therefore the Kohanim even have a more severe prohibition than the rest of the Jews in issues like this. Why? Because their job is to make sure, to guarantee, to make sure that they, to the individual Jew, that they would be able to merit Chayei Olam Haba, life in the other world, by doing how? By doing tshuva ve'kapara. How do you do the tshuva? How do you do the kapara? You bring the korban and you do vidui. So the Kohen that represents that, the Kohen therefore represents life of emunah, represents the fact that the Jew has an ability to make tshuva, to repent, has an ability to atone for the sins. You don't need Jesus for that. You can do it. Jews are expert in that. We know how to do tshuva. We know how to atone for our own sins. And we have a person that's his job to help us do so. That's the Kohen. When we go to the Mizbeach and do, that's why we still maintain that yichus of Kohanim and so on and so forth. But we need today, what do I care today? Let him marry a girl. Let him marry a... By the way, you understand now, why is it so bad when people who are Kohanim marry, for example, a woman who is divorced, or let's say a Gioret that they cannot marry, or a woman that she's bichlal even a goy. For Kohanim it's even worse. Because look what he's doing. Look, because do you understand what does he represent? So, therefore, the Pasuk says, you agree with me? That's why it says, Siftei Kohen ishmeru da'at v'torah yavakshu mipiu. That's why the Kohanim, they guard the Torah. That's what the Kohanim used to do. They used to sit down and learn. When they didn't work in Bet HaMikdash, they learned. One of the reasons, somebody told me, one of the reasons we do a Pidyon HaBen from the Kohen, because really, what do you mean? I'm going to give you my son. Yeah, oh, you take my son, I'm going to punch you in the face. What do you mean you take him as a son? Very nice, your Kohen, it's my son. My Becho, you're going to take him? No, you don't understand. The Kohen was supposed to teach him. When the father redeems the Kohen, he's redeeming the zchut to educate his son from the Kohen, because it's the Kohen's job to educate him. So I'm saying, I'll give you five slaim, five silver coins, and I want the zchut to educate my son. Because that's what the Kohen did. The Kohen shomer, he guards, and we are Goy Kadosh Umamlechet Kohanim, and we are the kingdom of priests ourselves. This is our job as well. If you forgot how to do so, look what the Kohen needs to do, and you know what to do as well. The Kohen is the representative of the Torah. And our Torah is not called Torat Metim Chaz V'Shalom. It's called what? Torat Chaim. The Torah celebrates life. And that's why people who are Torah observant, Shomrei Torah u'mitzvot, must have Simchat Chaim. Now you understand why you have to Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha. If you are Shomer Torah mitzvot, how can you be depressed? Tiyeh b'simcha. Tiyeh b'chaim. We don't understand that. There's no room for depression. If you have an imbalance in your head and you can't bring yourself to happiness, I don't care. Take Zoloft. I don't know. Take whatever. Take Coca-Cola. Loch patli. You gotta be happy. Huh? What'd you say? Mali. You know, for us, Mali. For me, what Mali is a small black fish. It's called Mali. It's only Mali. So what? You take your fish. Whatever it is. Anyway. So the Harav Kook, Haraya Kook, said something very interesting. Someone said something very interesting about it, and he says the following regarding regarding the Kohen, מה יש לו למחשב הזה היום? Regarding the Kohen, it says there is, which is true to all people, there is a deep emotion that is really implanted in all of us. And it's very common or natural that you have a person of faith standing next to a person who just died or lost somebody died for him, right? So there's going to be, the mourner, there's always a priest or somebody next to him, right? You always see in the cowboy movies, right? There is a priest like this, or, It's always a reverend, a priest, or whatever it is. Why is that? Because this is in a way the time that we pass from this world to that world. So you need like a connector, somebody to do that. Ha'olam haba, the other world, is basically the world of religion, right? That's why he represents, that priest or Buddhist monk or whatever it is, represent that thing. By the way, in Tibet, they deal a lot, the Buddhists deal a lot with death. That is a big thing. And yet everybody cherishes Buddhism and they despise Judaism. I think this is another reason. People don't want to celebrate life. People enjoy death. Judaism represents, besides freedom in a world, which I realized that today, besides freedom in a world, which we spoke about many times, Judaism celebrates and represents life. People don't want life. People like to kill. People like to... You look at Judaism, put so many restrictions on killing people, on spilling blood. But the world doesn't want that. The world likes Hitlers. The world likes Osama bin Laden. They like it. A righteous person, that they don't want. You think about that. So if somebody tells you, why do people hate Jews so much? You tell them. Because he who hates Jews, the true anti-Semite, you're never going to find an anti-Semite that likes freedom and he's not a violent person. Usually it goes hand in hand. Anti-Semite is a person who is usually a bigot, a racist, and he will take your freedom as much as you can. If you let him, he'll take everything. Pay attention. Do your own survey. In today's world and in history. It's always like that. So if somebody asks you that, you tell them that. You tell them that. So therefore, and this is the place, when a person, Chas v'Shalom, dies, at that moment, that is the place that really reminds the person who he is and what is really the purpose of man and world, right? You're gonna die eventually. So therefore, it's not accidental that death brings upon people feelings of awe and repentance and all of a sudden and so on and so forth. I mean, really, if you look at it, I don't think and you could be the most secular Jew in the world. You enter a Jewish cemetery, you put a kippah on your head. Automatically, a kippah goes on your head. I've seen people that take like napkins. They don't have kippah. They put napkins like this on their heads. I've seen all kinds of things. Something has to go immediately. That does it to you. There was an Israeli singer. His name was Arik Einstein. He died, I don't know, whatever, 2-3 years ago, whatever he died. I mean, a complete secular person. And all his friends are the Israeli bohemia. Like everybody, you see his funeral, everybody wears a kippah. Why are you wearing a kippah? What is this for? It brings about people this feeling, and but this is quite funny because the cemetery is the place where halakha should not really come to be celebrated. Why? Because we said loeg larash, you can laugh at the people. So why is that, right? Which is really human. That's the connection of the live person with the dead person, or the place where he is, really brings about us strong religious or theological feelings inside of us, and that's why we do so. But Torah Israel forbids the Kohen in such experiences of religious uplifting as a result of death. That the Kohen cannot experience that. That Kohen works in Bet HaMikdash, and he's supposed to teach Am Yisrael Torah, so he's not allowed to be not in a place of, not in a funeral, and not in a cemetery. And the reason is why? Because we said, Torat Hashem Temima is complete, right? Torat Hashem, Torat Chaim, is a Torah of Chaim. Rav Kook explains that with all the great let's pray. Oh, okay, I was wondering what's this thing. With all the great advantages, the so-called, you can go to the Bet HaKvarot, cemetery. Oh, maybe I'll make shuvah, and so on, and so on and so forth. And you can learn more for that. This is not really the desire of the Torah. The Torah does not look for musar, or from repentance or something like that comes from a source of death and fear from the unknown. The Torah shows us a way of life, how to live life. It doesn't want us to worship Hashem from fear. Oh, go Gehenna. The Torah doesn't like that. It's not the way of Torah. The Torah wants people to connect themselves with real life. And I'm going to tell you, I'm using the word real life because most people don't live real life. Most people live a fantasy. It's not real life. It's a fantasy. And you need to understand that, and you need to accept it. That what you have in your head and the way you experience life is all fake. What is the strongest indicator? How much simcha there is in your life. How much joy there is in your life. If there is joy in simcha, there is a feeling of, okay, gamzula tava. No, it wasn't meant to be. It's okay, yalla. You're okay. If you're like, oh, why me? Why me? Why do you have more money than me? Why do you have this with me? Why do you have this? Why this? Why? Fake. Your life is not real. You're not living life. You're not experiencing Shabbat the right way. You're not doing the mitzvot. You might be doing mitzvot. You're tying tefillin. It's not it. Something is lacking in that. You weren't mitchaber. You weren't connected to life. You weren't connected to life. You're connected to fakeness. Because that's emet. Torah is emet. It's the truth. If you're not connected to the truth, you're living a lie. There's no gray area. There's no white lie, pink lie, and purple lie. Maybe there is pale per haze. But there's no such thing as chatzi emet. There's emet, sheker. That's it, black and white. Boy, girl. There's no it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, the more a person would connect to life, the more he would love life. The more he would love life, the more he wants to experience. He wants to stay away from death. And from all these things that lead to self-destruction. You have a job. The job is not good. It's not like somebody says, ooh, you do that? Wow. But you have a job. He pays your bills. He pays your, whatever you need to pay. Baruch Hashem. I'm happy. Baruch Hashem. Well, what fantasy do you have in your head that you need to generate millions of dollars? For what? Oh, I have the capabilities to... Do you have the capabilities to live life? Because if I'll give you all the money in the world, you will waste it because you are not connected to the source. You're not connected to the source. So the money that I'll give you $40 billion, you're going to be depressed. You're not going to be happy. And it has nothing to do with what you have or you don't have in terms of monetary things. It has to do with what you have here. Your heart. How truthful you are to life. How truthful you are to the world of the Torah. This is how connected you are. The more you, the same thing. The more connected you feel to your wife, the more you love her. But if you're not connected to your wife, first chance you have, I'm out of here. See ya. Sayonara. There's no connection. Connection has to be chaim, life. I want to spend my life together with her. And if not, it's not. It's a fantasy. It's just convenience that you're getting together. You get something out of her, she gets something out of you. It's convenience. It's nothing of love. And life is about living life. Death is about not eating, not drinking, and so on and so forth. Huh?
And sleeping.
Not sleeping. And sleeping too much. You're running away. You don't want to live life. You don't want to experience, all these things. That represent the process of death, not the process of life. And we would say, a Buddhist monk, he's a holy man. Why? He doesn't sleep with women, he sleeps with little children. He doesn't eat rice, he only eats rice, he only does. That's not our way. You eat whatever you want. The Torah told you can eat the right amount. Be with your wife when the Torah lets you, as much as you want. Everything b'midah. Huh?
Discipline.
Yes, absolutely true. Discipline. Absolutely. Complete discipline. And awareness and celebration of life. Celebrating. And that's why, for example, a person who gives up the pleasures of life, like a Nazir, a Nazarite, right? A person who is too much machmir on himself, most people are going to say, is what? Is closer to God. They would appreciate that. But maybe it's not like that. Maybe it's not like that. And many times, people are machmir too much on themselves on halakha and things like this. I mean, because what's the big deal if I don't eat it? What's the big deal if I don't eat it? Why would I do this? I would not do this. But this is not the view of the Torah. The Gemara tells us, Kadosh Baruch Hu will tell you, listen, let's say it was not bad for you to, let's say, eat a cake. You could eat a cake. You wanted it. Why didn't you eat it? You want to show everybody that you're better than them? You're going to pay the price for that. Okay, if you're diabetic and that's okay. You should not eat that. Right? But usually we try to show people how great we are by telling them how much we do less than everybody. We are very zealous about certain things. And that's not the way of the Torah. Torah celebrate life in a disciplined manner in the way it was permitted to you. Huh? Sure? But it seems like that the message that the Rav Kook says to us is that's why he's saying it's the kavanah. When we say Torat Chaim, the Torah guides us to life and encourages life. I give you life, I give you death. I give you bad, I give you good. And you should choose Chaim, you should choose life. Savrim Aranan, Chaim. Even when we drink, L'chaim, to life. Look at this. Nazdarovia, kampai, cheers. L'chaim, to life we drink it. Yes, we need to make a bracha rishona, we need to make bracha achrona, but this should be to life. It's a celebration of life. Not to drink, to get drunk, to run away from things, to escape from things. We're not afraid from anything. Because we know that we have a way to live life. I'm not lost, I know how to navigate. I'm drinking for life, I'm not drinking to escape. And that's a very, very big difference between us and the rest of the nations. That's why the Kohanim eat the korbanot, they eat trumot, they eat maasot, they eat holy food, and that's how they become kadosh. They're not, if you go to other religions, the priests don't eat anything. They don't. By us, they eat. What are Kohanim in Bet HaMikdash ate all the time? Meat, shish kebab, yalla ala esh, everybody. Ala esh, shishlik, ochlim, kebab. They ate. But we bring him korbanot, we bring him trumot, maasot. Ate the best stuff. You can't bring trumot, maasot, something like, that they give you in the supermarkets. They wrap it like this, 99 cents, take whatever you want. Some leftovers. No, I have to bring the best. And who eats it? The Kohen eats it. To show you how to celebrate life. Shabbat is like that. Shabbat, you're not going to take, okay, honey, what are we having for Shabbat? Oh, I bought pizza, I froze it, I defrosted, מי יאכל פיצה בשבת? פיצה תאכל כל השבוע. Shabbat. Fill the table up. Don't skimp on Shabbat. Eat pasta with stones all week long. Shabbat תאכל כמו מלך. Shabbat celebrates another aspect of Judaism, which is freedom. So when we eat on Shabbat, we accomplish a tremendous thing. We're celebrating freedom and we are celebrating life. But that nobody ever told you that. They tell you, oh, don't eat or don't drink. Okay, if it's bad for you. But if you want to eat, eat like a person. Eat in a certain way. Sheyesh achila. In order for be achila, it has to be achila. Achila, sudat mitzvah, Shabbat, and so on and so on. No. This is how we celebrate life. Why do we call it sudat mitzvah? Because what do we have sudat mitzvah? We have sudat mitzvah, and the first one all of us has experienced sudat mitzvah is when? Brit Milah. Sudat mitzvah, Allah, Chaim. We're celebrating life as a new baby to the world. A baby girl, not a problem. That's what you're doing, right? Baby girl. We make a kiddush for her. New life. Bar mitzvah. Mesiba. Chatuna. Whoa! Sudat mitzvah. Tochal. Siyum masechet. Sudat mitzvah. Why we're learning Torah? We're learning how to live life. Throw a meal. You understand the difference? You see how good it is to be a Jew? And you want to be like a goy. Let's just start with cutting your hair like a Jew, putting your beard like a Jew. All of a sudden, all you big heroes, my wife doesn't like it. Ka'alek beka, what doesn't like it? Tell her, I told you 1,000,000 times, tell your wife, honey, darling, my love, Jeger, corazón mío, ojos de mi alma. Somebody in this house has to have a beard. Now either you or me, but one of us have the beard. It's enough you wear the pants, at least let me grow the beard. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And not only that, look at this, very careful. On Yom Kippur, we have the vidui of Rabbeinu Nissim. And we say, Et asher asarta, hetarti. Whatever you said it's asur, I said it's mutar. Et asher, okay, so that we understand. I'll say, you said don't eat pig, I ate pig. Okay, chatati, aviti, pashati. Okay, I understand. But it's petrifying. Et asher hetarta, whatever you said it's okay to eat. Asarti, I said it's no good. It's a chet. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told you can eat it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said you can do it. That's why a person cannot want to sanctify himself. Honey, guess what? No more together. No more. I'm going to become holy. No, it's like mitzvah. Chiyuv mitzvat onah. You have to be with your wife. Okay, not like a rooster in the chicken coop, but mitzvat onah. You have to be with your wife. You can't punish your wife. If you're going to punish your wife, you said, I'm going to punish you. I'm never going to be with you anymore. She can go to the rabbi. You get the ketubah. She'll rip your pants off. She'll strip you from every penny you have. Because you mitzuveh on mitzvat onah. It's a celebration of life. So the same thing here. As much as there is kedusha, holiness, by preventing from things, there is actual kedusha, even more so kedusha, of celebrating things in the way we allow to. And our parasha deals with the inyan of kehuna and inyan of tahara and so on and so forth. And because Emor, he says, say to them. And to tell us that the Kohanim are those who needs to show Am Yisrael. They are the ones who needs to show an example of how to say them. And therefore, that's why the parasha starts with the way of certain chagim and talks about at the end with the parasha the question of the guy who's mekalel, the person who's cursing. The person who's cursing is taking away or showing us the negativity in speech. You can tell the person, speech is a wonderful thing. That's how we differentiate ourselves from animals. Animals don't speak. We communicate. Right? Speak. So you can tell a person, I love you, or you can curse the person. taking cursing is lowering the quality of HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you, in which you could communicate with God. How do you communicate with God? Through tefillah. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you speech so you can communicate with Him. And you taking this vehicle and now you're downgrading it through cursing. So one needs to be very, very careful. And that's why it has to do also with Sfirat HaOmer, with the way we're sanctifying ourselves, LeKabbalat HaTorah, and so on and so forth. So therefore this parasha reveals us our individual responsibility, each and one of us has, Rabotai, not only to ourselves, not only to our families, and not only to our nation. This parasha reveals to us our obligation to the well-being of the world itself. Shene'emar, Goy Kadosh Umamlechet Kohanim. You are a nation of priests. Now you understand where do we get this of Ola Goyim, a light to the nations. Because we need to show people how to celebrate life, how to sanctify yourself by sanctifying life itself. That's why we are different than the Japanese. The Japanese is all about death, right? There's no such thing as becoming captive. Kill yourself, don't fall captive. That's why Chachamim were not so happy with what happened in Metzada. Came the Zionists, they made a big production out of this. But we need to think about this. Judaism is about celebrating life. Why? Because if I'm dead, who is going to spread Torah in the world? It's about life. That's why committing suicide is such a bad thing in Judaism. And this is why each and every one of us is mechuyav, is obligated be'avodah ruchani to do spiritual work. You have to. And you have to work hard in order to reach the true purpose which was given to us. The Zohar says the Kabbalah, the Zohar says that learning also internal things of Torah will help us also to bring redemption, or close redemption. And how is going to bring it to us? Berachamim velo bedin, by mercy and not bedin. So learning internal things, internalizing things. We are a very external society, so we need to work on the inside itself. Don't just work on your body. Don't just work on the health of your body. Work on the health of your mind, of your soul as well. So learning Musar, learning Kabbalah, learning Torah is very, very important. And when you learn this, you sanctify yourself, and when you sanctify yourself and you dedicate yourself, and that's why they ask the person, have you set time for Torah? Did you dedicate time for Torah? Dedication, Rabotai, is dvekut, attachment. I'm dedicating myself only to that. Dvekut, attachment, that's dedication. I can make a commitment, right? I'll say a commitment, I made a commitment to learn Torah. But all of a sudden, let's see how really truthful you are to your words. Now it's going to be hard. Now it's going to be difficult. The baby is crying. Oh, you're only going to learn when it's convenient? No, you're going to come and learn all the time. That's dedication. Dvekut, v'davakta. You attach yourself. When a man finds his woman, v'davak ba vayu lebasar echad. He attaches himself. He dedicates himself to her, and they become one flesh. The same thing here by learning Torah. It's not just learning, just going like this. It is dedicating, it is working hard. It's very nice that you listen to tapes and CDs and Torah in your car and so on and so forth. But you need to get out of your comfort zone. You need to come here to Bet Midrash and learn Torah. Because this is how you learn. You need to learn to acquire this ability to dedicate, to prove yourself. Not only how does Torah fits in my busy schedule, because your busy schedule means nothing. I don't care if you learn to become a doctor or you learn to become a shoemaker. Your busy schedule means nothing. Everything should be evolved around the Torah, and this is how you fit your schedule. The Torah is the focal point of your life, not your businesses, not your schools, and I don't care how much debt you had in your school. You must kovea yated, put a fence post in the Bet Midrash that nobody can pull you out of there. You need to acquire this. You're not being born with this. It is something that you need to learn how to do so. And when you do so, to prepare yourself. When you come and you learn and you dedicate, you prepare yourself to the great light, to the light of the Torah that will come and will shine the true neshama of Israel from all of us. And b'zchut zeh yavo Mashiach tzidkenu. Amen. Shabbat shalom.